Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to play with the Love from Lizi Frosty Friends mini pack. Now all of Lizi's items come sealed in these plastic bags to ensure that there's no water damage during transit, which is always good. Within this pack you receive 3 sheets of pearlized card in a beautiful deep blue, a black and a white. You also receive 3 sticker sheets, one with these adorable penguins on, another with different Christmas sentiments on, and then one with some super cute little snowmen. And then there are also 3 ribbons. This one says Christmas wishes in a really pretty blue. The next one is a little row of snow-covered houses on sort of a dark grey background. And then the last one I received is called the words Magical Christmas on it. Last year, I think it was, I'd made some boxes for Christmas gifts, and I was left with all these scraps of this really lovely, nice quality, I think it's basil cardstock, with all these different shades of blue, and I just couldn't bear to throw them out. And when I saw the penguins, I thought, oh, these are going to match really, really great. So that's why I got them, because then I thought, oh, I can use up my blue scraps. I also decided to use this white cardstock to make some square cards. This is a linen cardstock. It's not a particularly heavy weight, but I think it's perfect for Christmas. I also then pulled out, and you can't really see here, this is a pearlized white card that's called Peacock, which I got from a local vendor here in Holland. And the reason I ended up pulling this out was because with my bright white cardstock, when I used the white pearlized card that had came in the kit, it actually made the pearlized card look at, a little bit off-white. So it wasn't quite crisp enough for what I was looking for. So then I ended up using this one from my stash. I've taken a panel of this white pearlized card. It has a slight pattern on it. You can't really see it on the camera. My plan is to mount it onto some dark blue pearlized and then onto some plain black card. And here I'm just sort of checking to see if I like how the colors look, as you do. I then pull in some pieces of this blue, scraps of blue card that I had. And what I've done is I've run it through my Big Shot die cutting machine with a die, an edging die, to give me sort of snowy banks. And this edging die is a creation of Nellie's Choice. I think this is a Dutch company, but these dies are sort of pretty standard, I think, in everybody's collection now, you know, with a stitched sort of hill border. So here I'm just laying a few pieces down. I have 3 or 4 different shades of this blue cardstock, so I'm just really trying to see what I like, what I don't like, how it's going to look. And this is the bit that always takes me forever in the kind of planning of the card and the fiddling before I get to stick anything down. Once I decided how I like my hills to look, I've gone ahead and I've used some double-sided tape to stick the first 2 down. I also have some quite thin foam tape which I've used to stick down the dark blue little hill so that it gives it a little bit more dimension and somewhere for my little penguin to sit behind. I have actually throughout this used 2 sizes of double-sided tape, one thicker, one thinner. Just to help, because the cards are quite simple and it just helps give it a little bit more interest if there's different layers going on. So now all my little hills are stuck down and I'm just going to trim off the excess with my scissors. Now I'm having a look at these like super cute penguins. They are so sweet and they were the reason that I bought this kit. I like kind of more cutesy Christmas cards. As opposed to the more traditional, and these just made me smile. And then I have put also quite a thin double-sided tape just at the top of his head, just to give it a little bit of support, because he is going to be sat sort of on a couple of layers, so it makes sure he sits quite nicely onto the card. And then when I'm happy where he's positioned, I pull in the sticker sheet with all the different sentiments on it and just decide which ones I think will look best. I got very lucky with how all these different colours of the scrap card stock I had combined with the colours in the kit. You know, even the dark blue matched really beautifully. So I'm just layering up some foam tape to put behind the little sentiment and then sticking it onto my little panel. And I wanted to add in some of the ribbon. So what I decided to do is to run a piece of double-sided sticky tape across the bottom of my dark blue hill, and then just to lay a piece of the pretty ribbon down. And this is the one that says Magical Christmas on it. So I'm just making sure that the ribbon is pressed very securely onto the double-sided tape and mount this panel onto the blue pearlized, a piece of the blue pearlized cardstock. And then I bring in my trusty little trimmer just to make sure my edges are straight. And I really love this little trimmer because it can leave you with just a nice little, quite a fine border you can get on it. And I've put double-sided tape on this again, and I'm going to mount this up onto just a piece of plain black cardstock. And please forgive the wiggle there with the camera. I'd actually knocked it with my head. And again, I've done the whole double-sided tape thing on the back, and now I'm going to mount this onto my white card panel. And of course it's Christmas, so Christmas has to have a little bit of sparkle because snow has to have a little bit of sparkle. So I've pulled out the Nuvo glitter drops, and I'm just going to dot this about all over the sky and then over the tops of the little hills and a little bit under the penguin's feet, so it looks like he has something to stand on, so he's not just floating in midair there. So here I've gone for a panel of the blue pearlized, and this one was super quick. And I'm just taking off some of the little snowflake stickers that are on both sheets, the ones with the penguins and also the ones with the snowmen. And all I'm going to do with the snowflakes is I'm using different thicknesses of foam tape and sticking them randomly over the blue panel, and some of them I also stick flat directly onto the card. And then I'm looking the stickers with the sentiments on, looking to see which one will go, and deciding that, oh, that one perhaps is a little bit too dark against the dark blue, and I then pick up one which says Merry Christmas, which is in the lighter blue and black. So the Merry is in the lighter blue, the Christmas is in black, and that also will help tie it together when I mount it up on some black cardstock as well. So I've chosen my sentiment, and now I'm mounting it up with foam tape, double-sided foam tape. So now I'm just using my scissors to chop off the parts of the snowflakes that were hanging over the blue card. And now I've used double-sided tape, and I'm going to mat this panel onto some of the white pearlized card that I had decided to use. Oh, and then I'm going to mat this onto some of the pearlized black card. And then I'm going to mount this onto my white card base. Again, I've come for the Nuvo glitter drops, and I'm just putting a tiny little bit in the center of each snowflake just to give it a little bit more bling, because also there is a little bit of glitter on the sentiment as well. And it just helps tie it all together. For my next card, I'm using a panel that I've cut down from the pearlized blue. So I'm pulling in some of my die cut hills, and I'm just trying to see how I want them to sit. And once I've got them how I like them, I just then stick them down with double-sided tape and a little bit of foam tape. And then just trimming off the edges with my scissors. I'm sorry, this narration is going to start being a bit same old, because the majority of these cards are very simple, and they all kind of run on the same theme with the snowy banks and the little stickers. So I have my little scene created, and now I'm going to mount it up onto the pearlized white again, trim it down. and mounting it. And this time I'm mounting it onto just some plain black cardstock, because I want to save the pearlized black for another card I'm going to do in a couple of minutes. Then mount it up onto my white card base, and then pull in my little penguins to see which one I want to put on the front. Again, I've put a little bit of quite thin double-sided foam tape on the back. I'm actually using up scraps. This is one that had little circles and things in it, so this is now the sort of outside of the little circles. I do love it when I can use up all my bits and pieces. It makes me very happy. And then I just stick him down and then start looking for a sentiment for this card. Again with the double-sided foam tape. And once again with the Nouveau glitter drops. And that's that card finished. For the next one, I've taken my white card base and I had some larger scraps of the blue card. So I'm going to make a panel down the middle. So I'm just with my trimmer, just trimming up the edges a little bit. And then I'm going to pull in my little snowy banks again. And now I've actually, because I've had some offcuts from the pearlized white that I've been using, I actually cut some of those out as well. So these ones are real snowy banks as opposed to just, you know, blue ones. And then just sticking everything down with double-sided tape. And then I will trim off the excess with my scissors. So then I've double-sided tape on the back of this panel, just double checking my card opens the right way. And I'm going to put this down the middle of the card. And now I'm pulling in my heavy-duty guillotine, because this will give me a lovely straight edge and it can cut through multiple layers of cards. So particularly for that bottom edge, I wanted something that was a bit stronger. I wanted to incorporate some of the ribbon again, so I've laid a strip of double-sided tape along each side of my panel, and then I'm just going to stick down a length of the ribbon on each side of the panel. And this is the ribbon that says Christmas Wishes. So just trimming off the edges with my scissors. And then I need to look to see where I want my little snowman to go. So a little bit of thin foam tape on the back of his head, just to help him sit better on the card. And then I'm going to stick him onto his little snowy hill. And I've chosen again, a Merry Christmas sentiment. And just using a little piece of foam tape to stick that onto the card. Now, instead of using the Nouveau glitter drops for this card, I decided to get out my Posco white paint pen and just to dab it so I've got little dots on the card that looks like snow. I did have to go over each one twice to make it more white. And that's this card finished. And here's the last design that I did. I've taken now a piece of the black pearlized cardstock. And on the black I'm going to be used the pearlized white snowy banks. I'm sticking everything down with double-sided tape and foam tape to create a little bit of dimension. And trimming it off with my little trimmer. I'm sticking down some double-sided tape at the bottom and the top of this panel. And I'm going to adhere some of the ribbon, which is the little houses, on sort of a dark grey background. So they're snowy houses and little Christmas trees on there. And instead of trimming off the edges of the ribbon for this one, I decided just to glue them to the back of the card. Now I've pulled out a bigger snowman here, and I'm just cutting a piece of the thin foam tape to sit behind his head. So I've used a lawn fawn die called Mini Snowflakes, and out of my scrap pearlized card I've just cut out a whole load of the snowflakes and I'm going to randomly place them on this card to see how they look. And then I will glue them down with a little bit of Tombow glue once I'm happy with the placement. I have then added foam tape to the back of the panel, and I'm going to mount this directly onto my white card base. And then I bring out the trusty Nouveau glitter drops again and just add a little touch on the snowflakes. Generally in the center of the snowflakes, but on some of them a little bit on the edges as well. And also over the buttons. And then I'm looking for a sentiment. I decided I didn't want to introduce any more color into this, so I've taken one of the stickers that says Merry Christmas, but I've cut off the Merry because that is in blue, and I have nothing else really in blue to tie this in with the card. And that's this card finished. And at this stage I've made 10 cards from this mini pack. And this is what I have left over. You can see I've got loads of sentiments, loads of snowmen, and loads of penguins. So I reckon I could make another 20, maybe more cards out of this. Now I have made 2 of each style of cards, and just showing you here, they're all sort of slightly different. And there they are, and I hope you like them. And I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who commented and liked and watched my first video. I've really been blown away by all the lovely comments and the support I've received. And thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye.